All right, guys. So it is officially official. The Jaguars announce that they have hired an assistant general manager who comes over from the San Francisco 49ers, and he goes by the name Ethan Waugh. Now, I made a very similar video like this, 3, 4 weeks ago? Similar title, same exact thumbnail. Shout out to Cameron for not needing to make me another one. But a few weeks went by and nothing really went down. And I'm not gonna lie, I was getting a little bit nervous. If you just look at the Jaguars really this offseason it was pretty much a certainty that the Jaguars were going to hire Byron Leftwich and that they offered him a job, but it just didn't come into fruition for one reason or another. And then the Jaguars announced that they are going to hire an executive vice president of football operations. And then a few weeks go by and nothing happens. The guy that was most notably kind of linked to that position was former Vikings GM Rick Spielman, and that was the name kind of being thrown out. So it was kind of a waiting game. It was like, okay, at some point we're going to hire this guy. And then time went on and it just never happened. And then the Jaguars, through Ian Rappaport, actually Shad Khan, I think, even put this out on social medias, but he said that they will not be hiring an executive vice president of football operations. So we're kind of sitting here like, all right, well, that's two things that fell through. Okay. And then a few weeks ago, they announced Ethan Waugh will probably be joining the Jaguars after the draft. Now, mind you, they announced this like a week before the draft. And then a few days after the draft went by, it didn't happen. A week went by, it didn't happen. 2 weeks went by, and it didn't happen. And we're kind of sitting here like, do we just get the rug pulled out from us again? But it looks like it will be going down. Ethan Waugh joins the Jaguars, and it's really a widely positive hiring here. I think, first of all, he's worked with San Francisco 49ers. He's been there for 17 seasons. He actually worked with Balky from 2005 through 2016 as they both kind of moved up the ranks over there together. And the thing about him is that I think's honestly the overwhelming positive thing about this is that it feels like the Jaguars are adding a really good person to the front office. And I don't know if the Jaguars, at least in the past, especially last year, I don't know if they really had any good people. I mean, Urban Meyer definitely wasn't a good person. Trent Baalke has a terrible reputation, and even Shad Khan is a little bit sketchy. There were reports that as much as Shad Khan gives out a lot of resources to these coaches and stuff like that, there were some little bit of hesitancies on working with a guy like him, and he's not a guy that the Jaguars fans really know a lot about personally. So we're a little bit worried about that. But Ethan Waugh, from guys that have worked with him to like players, even the fans love him. Like, he's a universally respected person, and I think that's good to bring in here. And he was also with the San Francisco organization for a long time, a very long time. Like I said, 17 seasons, and he is deciding that this is a good enough opportunity to leave to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars and be here. Now, Baalke did finesse this. I mean, he goes from instead of having someone to report to, he goes to having someone that actually reports to him. But it is good that this guy is willing to work with Baalke. I mean, from all the reports that came out, it was like nobody wants to work with this man. But this is a guy that has worked with Baalke, for over a decade, and he's willing to be his right-hand man in this operation, which I think it is obviously pretty positive in that. So we'll kind of see his outcome. Of course, the Jaguars, when it comes to front office restructuring, I think that was one big emphasis really this offseason was, I think the Jaguars they needed to find, because just in the past, whether it be bad coaching or just organizational structure wise, it's never been good. And obviously, when you lose as much as the Jaguars have lost, I mean, Shad Khan, every single year of his tenure outside of 1 year has been just double-digit loss seasons. So we're pretty much writing the book on how not to do things. But that is one thing that needs to be reevaluated is just the org structure and just everything, man. Like from, the org structure to how people and players are being treated inside the facility to even like the legal department with the whole, the non-reporting of the Josh Lambo stuff. I don't know. There's just a bunch of stuff that's the thing about being a Jaguar fan, when we don't really have all that much connections, is we can see products on the field. It's easy to see we need a wide receiver. Offensive line needs to block better. Quarterback needs to throw the ball. But it's easy for us to see that kind of stuff. But, when it comes to the actual organization, when it comes to the guys that are wearing suit and ties, it's harder to really see through that when it comes to what's going on, inside of the walls at TIAA Bank Field. But I think something like this is a step in the right direction. You're bringing in a guy that is a respected personnel person, and you also bring in a guy that is a respected person in general. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, he's never been a GM before, so it's hard to really go back and look at really what he nailed. Like, I don't know if that kind of stuff would be public, because usually the GM gets all the credit for that kind of stuff. But yeah, he'll be obviously probably instrumental. I mean, he's the right-hand man to Trent Baalke. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And hopefully this is a stepping stone for him, and the Jaguars can start propelling these people to get better jobs, because I think that would be really good for the Jaguars to start doing is, allowing, instead of the Jaguars snatching people from other teams, why don't we start forming some kind of coaching tree and just organizational tree where people say, you know what, the Jaguars are doing things good. We need to do what the Jaguars are doing. You know what I mean? I think that'd be something that hopefully comes in the future, but it's going to require some W's in the win column and a lot less losing. So yeah, Ethan Waugh, he will be the assistant general manager to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't go through his whole tenure. I mean, when it comes to what would me giving you like position titles really do? I mean, he's a at least from my perspective, I don't know if that really does anything for you guys, but it's all out there and available. Let me know what you guys think about this this front office hire. And with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and go Jags. You guys watched the whole video. Really appreciate that. You guys can subscribe to the channel for the best source of Jaguars news on the YouTube platform. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UCF_Jaguar. And you can become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month for exclusive channel content. Thank you guys, and go Jags.